This traveler isn't just crossing the asteroid belt, it's bleeding water in the dark. Long before any comet ever should. Out there. Nearly 3 astronomical units from the Sun, that's over 400 million kilometers, something ancient is defying physics itself. NASA's instruments caught the object releasing around 40 kilograms of water every second, a cosmic fire hydrant spraying into the void. Ordinary comets stay silent until sunlight burns them awake. But this visitor started singing in the cold. Moving at nearly 60 kilometers per second, tilted at a perfect 175 degrees, the traveler cuts through the densest part of the main asteroid belt. Like a blade through fog, no spacecraft, no comet, no fragment from another star has ever taken this path before. That's why every telescope on Earth is locked on this traveler, watching every pixel, every flicker, wondering how far this anomaly will go. If this traveler breaks the rules that early, what else is it capable of breaking next? From the direction of Sagittarius, the Archer's constellation, comes a wanderer born from the galaxy's burning heart. Somewhere beyond the spiral arms, a planet once orbited a faint red dwarf until gravity tore it apart and scattered its bones into the dark. Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb suggests that this fragment, this messenger, may be one of those lost bones of a forgotten world. For billions of years, the traveler drifted between the stars, silent, frozen, carrying within its core the memory of a sun that no longer burns. And long before anyone noticed, NASA's TESS spacecraft had already caught a glimpse of the stranger, a pale dot, moving quietly through the background of its survey images. Hidden in plain sight, faint as a whisper, the traveler had already arrived unseen, unannounced, and waiting, born from the heart of the galaxy, and somehow already watching us before we even knew a visitor was coming. The traveler's path is almost impossible, a razor-thin line slicing through the crowded heart of the solar system. According to new data from NASA and JPL Horizons, the orbit cuts across the main asteroid belt at an inclination of just 5 degrees, almost perfectly aligned with the plane of the planets. That's the same narrow corridor where millions of rocks, boulders, and frozen relics drift like silent traffic. Most of those objects have eccentricities below 0.4 stable. Predictable, yet this visitor is threading right between them. Through the thickest region of the belt, it's like steering a ship through an ocean of glass. One wrong angle, and the journey ends. The James Webb Space Telescope has been tracking the motion since early August, using its near-infrared spectrograph to trace the comet's exact trajectory in exquisite detail. Every calculation confirms the same astonishing truth. The traveler is moving with surgical precision, cutting across a corridor where no interstellar object has ever dared to pass. No interstellar traveler has ever taken a path this clean and this dangerous. At first glance, the traveler looks small. Its solid heart, the nucleus, barely 10 kilometers wide. But around that tiny core unfolds something colossal, a coma stretching nearly 700,000 kilometers across. Imagine a ghostly atmosphere so vast that it could swallow Earth 60 times over, glowing in a soft emerald hue that deepens as it nears the Sun. NASA's SPHEREx mission has already detected a thick fog of carbon dioxide wrapping around the traveler, a haze that may be shaping that mysterious green glow. As sunlight strikes, the gases react, molecules split, photons scatter, and the traveler begins to shine like a memory awakening. But then comes the paradox. Images from the Hubble Space Telescope reveal an anti-tail, a faint stream, pointing not away from the Sun, but toward it. A comet that points toward the light, defying every rule of celestial mechanics we thought we understood. Comets don't point toward the sun unless something is rewriting the rules. Beneath the glow, something far stranger is happening, an invisible engine stirring inside the traveler's own halo. The James Webb Space Telescope has detected complex bands of dust and plasma, a phenomenon scientists call complex dusty plasma. Here, sunlight and the solar wind play a silent dual streams of charged particles collide with microscopic grains of dust, electrifying them until they dance. Around the traveler, those charged grains form an electrostatic field, a shimmering membrane that expands and contracts like the pulse of a living thing. The data from SPHEREx adds to the mystery, showing an unusual excess of carbon dioxide, a chemical imbalance that hints at something electrical hiding beneath the surface. Some physicists believe this imbalance could spark tiny discharges, miniature lightning bolts inside the coma, invisible to the eye but powerful enough to shape its form. If true, it means this traveler carries not just ice and dust, but storms, a charged ocean swirling beneath its skin. The Webb telescope may have just captured the first signs of an electric storm inside a comet's own skin. Out there in the main asteroid belt, the odds of any two objects colliding are roughly 1 in a billion. Space, even when it looks crowded, is still mostly nothing. Miles and miles of silence between every drifting stone. But this traveler isn't a pebble. It's massive, thousands of times larger than the probes we've sent across the belt. With its own gravity and an active electromagnetic field, it can nudge smaller fragments, bend dust streams, and alter the delicate balance of space around it. Scientists at NASA and ESA agree there's no risk to Earth, no path that brings this traveler anywhere near our planet. But they also use a phrase that carries its own weight, a non-zero probability. It means that while danger is almost impossible, the possibility isn't erased, it's just waiting. Quiet. On the far edge of mathematics, non-zero doesn't mean panic. It means pay attention. The numbers tell a reassuring story. On October 30th, the traveler will reach its perihelion, the closest point to the Sun, at 1.4 astronomical units, about 210 million kilometers away. Its closest approach to Earth, 1.8 AU, or roughly 270 million kilometers far beyond the reach of danger. For our planet, this encounter is nothing more than a cosmic observation, a front row seat to a passing mystery. But for everything else in its way, the story may be different. The main asteroid belt has an average density of about 2.7 grams per cubic centimeter, while objects from the trans-Neptunian region are closer to 1.0 fragile, porous ice that can shatter on impact. The traveler, massive and fast, will cut through those ancient remnants like a blade through snow. Safe for Earth, but not for everything else in its path. The solar system isn't silent. Beneath the light, there flows a hidden current, a vast electric river winding through the heliosphere. All of it streaming inward toward the Sun. Every planet, every asteroid, every grain of dust is touched by that current, charged, polarized, alive. When NASA's Dawn spacecraft reached Ceres, it found proof of this invisible tide, a plasma tail stretching more than 250 times the dwarf planet's radius. The Sun's charged wind piled up against Ceres' surface, then spilled backward, forming a tail that shimmered like static in water. Years later, the DART mission would prove the same resilience, smashing into an asteroid and watching a cloud of dust linger for weeks. Held in place by the field's invisible grip, space, it turns out, isn't empty, it's charged, breathing, reactive, Now imagine an interstellar comet swimming through that same current, supercharging the river itself. When dust meets storms, the universe listens. The charged particles streaming from 3I Atlas could merge with the solar wind, and if their timing aligns with the solar outburst, they might amplify the storm itself. It's a delicate dance between dust and plasma, unpredictable, fleeting, but powerful enough to stir Earth's magnetic field from millions of kilometers away. History has already drawn strange parallels. Comet Penstars in 2013, Shou-Chin-Shan in 2024, and now 3I Atlas in 2025, each one appearing just as the Sun reached a new peak in its activity cycle. There's no proven link, no causation, just timing. But timing, in the language of the cosmos, is never meaningless. Coincidence, or the universe whispering in resonance in the search for answers. Numbers help us stay grounded. That's why we've built the Alien Tech Scorecard, a scale from 0 to 100. Each week, the traveler is judged across 5 criteria: trajectory, spectrum composition, morphology, repeating signals, and water outgassing rate. This week, it stands at 28 out of 100, mysterious, but not yet extraordinary. If the water release climbs above 50 kilograms per second, or if its tail deforms again, that number will rise by 10. The rules are simple, but the implications aren't, because the next update after the Mars flyby could push the score past 50, and the next update after Mars flyby could push it above 50. 3 key dates mark the cosmic calendar. October 3rd, Mars flyby. Oktober 21. Superior conjunction. Oktober 29. Perihelion. During this window, scientists will track 5 things: brightness, shifts, orbital deviation, geometry, carbon dioxide spectrum, and water evaporation rate. Each observation must climb what we call the ladder of evidence, from repeatability to multiband confirmation via JWST, SPHEREx, and TESS to dynamic geometry. And finally, to intent. NASA admits we can't be 100% sure of an interstellar origin, but every new dataset strengthens the case. Every anomaly must climb the ladder from speculation to science. Every anomaly must climb the ladder from speculation to science. As the traveler nears the Sun, its emerald light begins to flare, green fire blooming against the black. Maybe it's just ice and dust. Or maybe it's rewriting the chemistry of the solar system right before our eyes. The screen fades to static. A faint wow signal hums in the background as the 3I Atlas emblem flickers into view. Subscribe and stay until the next light arrives. Because when JWST releases the next images, we'll decode them together. The next time you look up at the night sky, remember, one of those lights is a traveler bleeding water, carrying secrets from another star.